Welcome to the Cryptosphere. This is Cryptogenic coming at you. Today is Tuesday, September 20th at 6:17 a.m. here in Northern California. Yesterday I said I was going to make a big announcement and I never made it in the video, totally forgot. The announcement that I was going to make is that my new podcast is live. My new podcast is called About the Benjamin, the podcast. You can find it on Apple Music and Spotify. It's live on both places. You can also go to my website here, aboutthebenjamin.com. I actually have two podcasts here. Talking to My Diary is more just me talking to my diary, more stream of consciousness. About the Benjamin, tomorrow morning, the first episode is going to go live. And in that episode, I'm interviewing a 16-year-old kid who a year and a half ago, at 14 years old, started a shoe reselling company in Los Angeles and did $80,000 in sales in 18 months. So it's an incredible story. I mean, the entrepreneurial insights of this kid are astounding for a 16-year-old kid. And I've got many such stories like that I'm going to be sharing over the next 12 weeks on this podcast. The podcast is designed to inspire you to embrace your creativity and pursue your destiny. And so I think it'll be empowering and encouraging. So I invite you to check that out. I've got a trailer live on there now that'll just kind of give you a 5-minute taste of what I'm looking at. So I promised you yesterday that I was going to correlate the crypto market to the real estate market today and talk about the difference between crypto and real estate. First thing, just a basic observation that Bitcoin and the whole crypto market have been in this downtrend that have taken us about 74% down. Okay. Now, if we compare that to the real estate market has been in an uptrend that has gone up as far as 120% up, basically. Okay. So the crypto market is 74% down. The real estate market since March of 2020 is 120% up. So which is the better buy? Well, first of all, let's take a look at the difference between these two candle patterns. The crypto market is in a descending wedge, and we've said multiple times, descending wedges are bullish. The real estate market is in an ascending wedge. Ascending wedges are bearish. In other words, ascending wedges are inherently bullish, but eventually bearish. Once you start getting to the top of the wedge, you tend to break down out of the wedge and correct. Now, looking at the RSI, the real estate market, right now we've broken down beneath the wedge momentarily, but looking at the RSI, we could easily bounce. If we were breaking down and the RSI was all the way up at the top here in the overbought position, then I would expect us immediately to come down and to test some of these lower levels. But just looking at the RSI, we could easily get a bounce here and come back and test the top of this, maybe even bounce around in here before breaking down. But this ascending wedge we're going to have to break down from. We just got to watch the RSI. When the RSI hasn't told us yet that we've hit a top and that we're breaking down. I mean, we are making lower highs in the RSI and we're making lower highs in the price as well. And that could be it, but we're coming to the bottom. I mean, we already hit the oversold position in the RSI. So that means we could take one more swipe at the top here, at least, before we break down. So it could be a year or more before the U.S. Real estate market expects any type of a breakdown. Okay? It could be, fall of 2023, like this wedge. Actually, if you follow this wedge out, this wedge can take you all the way to... let's see how far up it can actually go before it. Yeah, all the way into 2024. We have the potential to stay in this bullish wedge. Same thing with Bitcoin. Bitcoin can stay in this bearish wedge all the way until about the same amount of time. I mean, technically, if you look at this candle pattern, we can stay in this wedge. It'll completely invalidate this ascending narrowing wedge on the macro, but we can stay in this bearish wedge all the way until the end of 2023, fall of 2023, easily. So what we see is that there's this confluence between the real estate market and the crypto market. The real estate market can stay bullish all the way till the end of 2023, and the crypto market could stay bearish all the way to the end of 2023. But the anticipation is that at a certain point, the real estate market's going to break down, and at a certain point, the crypto market is going to break out. But what's the difference? Everybody wants to invest in real estate. Everybody, I want to be a real estate investor. I want to be a real estate investor. I have 5 criteria for determining the viability of any investment. There are 5 criteria for evaluating any investment. The first criteria is potential profit. What is the potential profit on this investment? Now, if you look at Bitcoin, the potential profit is off the charts. And for other cryptos, it's even better. But even if we broke out now and just went back to our all-time high, that's 252%. And that could happen in a year or a year and a half. I mean, with crypto, you could see amazing returns. Whereas with the real estate market, you might see 15, in a super bull market, you might see 15, 20% per year. But what this ascending narrowing wedge is telling me is that my potential profits are limited as we come to the top of this wedge, that I'm going to expect a pullback, right? Whereas with Bitcoin, the lower it goes, the more my potential profits increase. Okay, so potential profitability is number 1. Number 2 is leverage, meaning how much do you have to borrow in order to get into the game? Investing in cryptocurrency requires 0 leverage. Investing in real estate requires huge leverage. So literally, I mean, you're going to expect a 5-to-1 ratio of leverage to margin if you're getting into a real estate investment, meaning you have to borrow 5 times as much as you invest. Now, I do some leverage trading with cryptocurrency, and people tell me all the time, don't do leverage trading. Leverage trading is dangerous. But the same people will say, oh, I just put 10% down on a real estate deal. 10% down on a real estate deal, that's 10x leverage on a multi-year. And the difference is I'm doing leverage with a $1,000 bet or a $2,000 bet. If you're investing in real estate, you're doing leverage on sometimes a $500,000 bet or a $1 million bet. And you're going into that in a 10x leverage position. So, I mean, the leverage is off the charts for real estate, and it's minuscule for crypto, even if you are leverage trading. All right. So first, profitability. Second, leverage. Third, liability. How much can you lose? Can you lose more than you buy? Can you lose more than you invest? With crypto, your liability is limited to your investment. If you put in $1,000, you can lose $1,000. Big whoopee. But with real estate, you can actually lose more than your investment. I mean, if you buy a home for $500,000 and you put $100,000 down, which is 20%, if that home drops in value to $250,000, technically you've lost $250,000. You haven't lost your $100,000. You've lost $250,000, which means you're going to sell it at a loss, and you're going to have a black market. You're either going to get foreclosed or short sell it, and you're going to have this huge scarlet letter on your credit for 7 years. I've been there. I know exactly what that's like. It can cripple you. So it's hugely risky. The liability in real estate is huge. The leverage is huge. Number 4, I've got to get out of here, is complexity. Complexity is how complicated is it to get into a crypto investment? People complain about the complexity with crypto all the time, but go buy a house. Tell me what is more complex, right? Is buying a little Bitcoin on Coinbase or Binance, or I recommend iTrust. I don't recommend Coinbase or Binance anymore. I recommend iTrust. There's a link in the description. Matter of fact, if I had it to do all over again, some people ask me, if you were just getting into the game right now, what would you do? I'd say my response is I would start with an iTrust crypto IRA because number 1, tax-deferred growth, tax-free trades, all of that stuff. So I would think about my retirement first, right? So, but anyway, I'll talk more about that in another video. But the complexity in terms of getting into real estate versus getting into crypto, get out of here. It doesn't even compare. It's not even apples to oranges. Secondly, once you buy a piece of real estate, now you've got to maintenance that piece of real estate. If the pipes burst, you got to replace the pipes and so on and so forth. The last piece, so you've got potential profit, you've got leverage, you've got liability, you've got complexity. The fifth piece is liquidity. How quickly can you get out if you need to? Listen, the crypto market is open 24 hours a day, 365 days a year. You could get out of a position on Christmas night at 2 o'clock in the morning if you needed to. It's no problem. The market is always open, and the liquidity is there for the most part. I mean, even with this whole USDT crisis, the liquidity was there. That's why there's still some strength in the market. And so try getting out of a real estate deal immediately. It takes some time to get out of a real estate deal, and depending on whether or not how hot the market is, I mean, this is what happened back in 2008. People were stuck in pieces of real estate that they could not get out of, that they just could not sell. So for me, it's a no-brainer. Investing in crypto is far more profitable, far less leverage, far less liability, far less complexity, and far higher liquidity. What you want for any investment is you want the profitability and the liquidity to be high, but you want the leverage, liability, and complexity to be low. In the real estate markets, you've got high complexity, high liability, high leverage, low liquidity, and low profitability. I mean, it's just a no-brainer to me. All right, folks, that's all I got for you today. Remember, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. Do me a favor and hit that like button if you enjoyed this content. Leave me a comment letting me know what you think. And above all, make it your aim to sleep in peace every night, wake in joy every morning, and walk in love every day. This is Cryptogenic, signing out.